Hey everyone, good evening. I'm a little exhausted tonight. I was not going to do a video. The continuation videos on the coin collection will resume tomorrow. But I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about some of the growing pains that are happening right now in the hobby. Most specifically, sorry about that. I gotta get my thing here all squared away. Most specifically, people are having issues with the coin grading companies. We're going to take a moment to address that a little bit. In addition to what's going on at the U.S. Mint, some people, and we'll go ahead and kind of kick off this video with the U.S. Mint issues that people have been having. Most notably, some of the more generally easier to access products before this year. It was easy to get some of the normal products that the U.S. Mint is still selling today. And what the U.S. Mint is doing, and I don't know if a lot of you have caught wind of this, is that they are heavily leveraging their enrollment program to sell out of a lot of their product. And to a lot of people figuring that is kind of a shrewd move, because when the products go on sale that people really want, they're already sold out, because the product gets fulfilled from the top down. So a lot of the enrollments, so let's say you're in the Silver Eagle enrollment, all right? So they're going to fulfill all the enrollments first. However, many people had signed up for that earlier in the year or last year for the program. And then whatever difference is left over in the initial allocation of the product will go to the folks that order online. However, we've come to a little bit of a interesting crossroads with what's happening at the U.S. Mint. About 75% of the time, these certain products are already sold out, even at hour zero. When you first get on to the U.S. Mint website to order a product that you know was also a part of the enrollment process for a lot of other folks. If you didn't get in, you were kind of SOL at this point. But to think of a few examples of product that people have wanted, but were instantly sold out at hour zero, has been the Silver Eagle program and the American Women rolls of quarters, and that's including the S Mint rolls. Come to find out, those particular coins, the S Mints, are business strike, and they have a very, very low mintage, like 300,000 coins. So these very popular products are already being sold out, the moment that they hit the website for sale. And their ordering system auto-fills the enrollment stuff. And that's why the time in which the enrollments are already fulfilled to where people have the opportunity to go onto the website and order the product manually is like negative 1 minute, because the moment you add it to your cart, it's sold out. And that's one thing that people are kind of hemming and hawing about, like, why aren't they making more? They have the ability to. And I think it's less of an issue of actually wanting to do that, because they could certainly pop the cap off of some of the product limits and mintage limits and then produce more, right? Because in hindsight, why would you turn away sales? That's like free money, because people do really genuinely want that product. But I think it's a lot deeper than it looks, and it has everything to do with the continuing saga of headcount at the U.S. Mint. Trying to right size the employees at the U.S. Mint. I'm sure they're still a little short on staff as we exit this pandemic period. And with that being said, there's probably some areas where they could trim the fat so that way they're still fully utilizing their current staff that they have on hand without taxing them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do this enrollment process. It's going to guarantee these amount of sales of this particular number. And then they're going to just go ahead and roll with that. All right. Now, there's going to be some of the products like the upcoming silver proof set that's going to be available on June 26th. Okay, I think I'm going to be in for maybe one or two of those sets. And the funny thing is, who is it? Coin World had reported that, you're getting more coins for the $105 that it costs to actually buy the proof set compared to 2021. And I just find that laughable. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great deal, right? You get 3 more 999 fine silver quarters, but it's still expensive, it's 3x what the silver melt value is for the set, that they're selling it for. So yeah, I'm still very taken aback by that. So that's been kind of like growing pain number 1. Now a lot of people are talking about on social media and online, and I'm on board. I'm all in with what you guys are saying. And at this point, I don't think the U.S. Mint is going to change course to allow any more fulfillment outside of the enrollment period. All right, so they got it capped at a certain amount, and that's it. Because what they don't want to do in the case of, let's say, the S-Mint rolls, where they've produced about 300,000 individual quarters that have a San Francisco Mint on there, they don't want to build upon that, because that is what was promised to the people that ordered into it. So they certainly don't want to have any bad press regarding that, because they have bad press in other areas for the U.S. Mint. All right, so that's the first note. The second one, by no big surprise, has been the coin grading companies, most notably NGC and PCGS. No surprise at all. They are incredibly backed up by probably 60 days plus for some of the regular services like Modern Tier and all that stuff. But what has really raised the ire of a lot of folks these days has been the attribution of errors and varieties on the coins. Not to mention the grades. Grades, not so much like, oh, I feel like this should have been a mint state 66. Instead, it got a 65. None of that stuff. Okay, we all have those understandings that that's what we expect. We expect a lot better grade than what they give us. Okay, so that hasn't changed. But what has changed is the overall quality and quality control component to the coin grading service has really dropped down quite a few notches. Okay, and the problem is with this is that the service price, the tier levels are going up in price, especially with NGC. Their prices are competitive to PCGS, but a few of the services are actually higher than that. So it's not a choice or a matter of like you get what you pay for, because that's not applicable here. People are paying more money than PCGS to go with NGC grading for, let's say, a modern tier with a variety attribution, like some double die or something like that. One of the most egregious stories as of late is a gentleman by the name of Jay Painter, who has a pretty nice 1909 Lincoln Cent, I guess, progression set of the double die obverse FS 1102. All right, which is a a very neat, a very valuable variety, and he has quite a few of them. He had sent off, I believe, 10 to NGC. Yeah, he sent them to NGC because he said he was going to crack out all of his other coins and send them out to PCGS because of what had happened on the customer call that he had with NGC. So he had sent out 10 that were all this FS1102 variety, and 2 of them came back with the attribution on the label, and of course he paid for the service, all right, which is more money above and beyond the tier level of his submission. So each coin, for example, if it's $25 for that particular tier, he has to pay X amount more dollars, $15, $12, however much it is for the variety. And he paid that additional amount across all 10 coins. 8 of them came back with no DDO FS1102 attribution. Okay, even though they were clearly on there. The rhyme or reason, and this is when he got on the horn, called NGC and said, "Hey, damn it." He didn't say that, but at this point he was incredibly upset. He said, "Yeah, I sent these 10 coins. You didn't grade 8 of them with the DDO attribution on there. So what happened?" "Oh, well, we've come to the understanding and that we don't grade this error on late stage or late die state versions of the 1102. And when I heard that, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Doesn't matter if it's an early die state, mid die state, late die state. It doesn't matter. If it's the variety, it needs to be attributed. So I don't know what's going on. Is this more of like, population control of the coin? In Jay's case, it's not that. It's just I'm looking to put together the entire progression set from early state to late state of one of the most unbelievable varieties out there. And he had a number of them in NGC holders. And now he says that he wants to go with PCGS, and I don't blame him. Here's a caveat, though. He invested a lot of time and money to get these coins in NGC plastic. So with him cracking out all these coins, all that money he had spent grading with NGC is going to go bye-bye. That's one such example. There have been a few other examples where, and Adam Chambers, who's on our live coin Q&A panel, as one of our kind of like resident cherry-picking guys who, looks for varieties. His main kind of like one true love has been the Franklin $50 Bugs Bunny varieties. I think he probably has all of them. But he's had a number of submissions, and he usually submits through NGC. That's like his preferred baby right there because of the cost is a little bit more reasonable because he sends out a lot of varieties. But even he is going through a lot of the issues, the same thing that Jay was going through. It's like, hey, I sent you these coins, paid for the variety attribution. This is all like extra money. I mean, if you're not going to attribute the coins, then you need to give me my money back. Is what it comes down to. But NGC, whoever they got hired over there to do customer service is doing a piss poor job. And this is something that you guys need to know about because it seems like it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And that's unfortunate. The coin grading / any sort of grading, sports card grading, comic book grading, is a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. Okay, even in a down market, they are still receiving records amounts of submissions to this day. And when you think about it, it's a very low-cost service, right? Like I could go ahead and do BlueRidgeSilverhound grading out of my garage or in this office right here. And, make a lot of money. All right. I just have to invest in some sort of, holders and, printer and all that stuff. It could otherwise be a very low overhead type of operation. Now, when you get big enough where you have tens of thousands, if not millions, of submissions coming in every month. Obviously, you need to operate out of a much bigger facility, a warehouse or a big office or whatever. So aside from that, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to grade if you know what you're doing. If you've been in the business, you've been around numismatics long enough to do these things, then it should be easy. Now, again, where is this all stemming from? Is this a people issue where there's not enough people working there? I've heard through the grapevine that during the last 2 years of the pandemic, some well-known, to NGC and PCGS graders who've been there for quite a while have left the company. So they were, and you guys saw, especially on PCGS's website, I'm sure NGC had something on Collectors Society as well, they were looking for graders. They were hiring graders last year. They were hiring graders early this year. So they are, I'm not saying that they're hiring just anybody. There are qualifications that need to be met, whether it's four-year college, which most of them are four-year college, along with, some sort of equivalent experience. And the quality of the grading and the people doing the grading and the customer service and the invoicing, the accounts payable, receivable team, they're all very different than what they were, say, 3 years ago. And that's kind of maddening. It's crazy for a lot of the people who have been using the grading services for a long time. All right. Yeah, I get it. People come and go. But if there's a direct issue that is affecting a lot of people and you see the continuously same issues with okay, why are we fielding all of these customer concern calls because of misattribution of coins? Why are we hearing a lot about putting the wrong attribution onto a label or not putting it on there at all? Why are we playing around with the whole early die state, late die state conversation? If it's indeed the variety in any state, it needs to be on the label, plain and simple. But, it's they look beyond that because they're very protective of their team. They're not going to throw them under the bus unless it's an egregious issue where, say, a customer service rep calls a customer an asshole. It can be more blatant than that. If that were the case, you'd be fired. But when there's an attempt at an intelligent conversation about early die state, late die state, or instead of putting FS 101, we put FS 102 on there. I'm like, okay, you gotta fix it? Well, no, you gotta send it back to us. You gotta pay that out of your pocket. You gotta pay for the reattribution, blah, blah, blah. They're doing all this weird stuff that is very un-customer service-like in today's industry, not just in grading, but all across the board, right? Credit card companies, ordering stuff on Amazon. If people are coming back to you and saying, well, it's really not our fault, even though it is, okay, it's up to you to take the time and energy and take money out of your wallet or purse to get this back to us. And that's wrong, right? It didn't used to be so taxing to do stuff like that, especially when you're completely 100% wrong. It's not that there's a lot of pride. It's just, we're spread thin and we don't have time to deal with this. I'd rather not address it at all and tell you, sorry, we can't do anything, than having to spend another half an hour trying to rectify the issue. The only problem is that if this is going to be an ongoing, continuing issue, there's going to be more videos like this one that I'm doing here today that's going to uncover the real truth, number one. Number two, it's going to be extremely hurtful in the long run. One more thing before I let you guys go. I had talked about these misplaced mid-mark nickels, most notably the 71D, 73D, and the 75D. Okay, because on the Central State Show on Heritage Auctions, there were 3 such examples, one of each date, that were sold with the Fred Weinberg pedigree. But apparently they're not going to attribute those. They're just doing a personal favor to the Weinberg pedigree to get those on there. And that, again, that's another thing that's happening. Why are you showing preferential treatment? Yeah, the man is a legend in the error scene, but that shouldn't exclude everyone from obtaining the same attribution on their label. It just doesn't make any sense. And that's something that people have been coming across since that video dropped last week. People have contacted NGC, PCGS, and they said, oh, no, we don't attribute that. And PCGS's stance, they'll say, oh, we'll put minor variety on there. Well, no, that's not what you put on the Fred Weinberg pedigree label. All right, you actually put misplaced mint mark. Now, the 75D high mint mark is indeed a cherry picker's guide variety, although it's not in there yet. That is classified as like FS 502 or 801 or something. I don't know. It has its own FS listing. But the other 2, which have clearly had some sort of attribution on the Fred Weinberg coins, obviously needs to be included throughout all the coins. It doesn't matter who the submitter is, because at the end of the day, the money that's being spent, all right, is all going toward their bottom line. It's paying the employees, it's paying the CEO and vice president, and so on and so forth. So this is what I want to talk about, letting you guys that there are indeed some pretty wicked, crazy customer service issues and various U.S. Mint shenanigans going on. Not a lot of people are completely happy right now with both of those entities because of these things that have developed within the last like 30 to 45 days. The U.S. Mint thing is understandable because they're trying to manage the cost of labor via how they're processing the product. They're not overproducing product. They're producing product to whatever the cap is of either the enrollment or what they feel is comfortable. They want reassurances. They want guarantees in that regard. But at the same time, it's going to hurt the people that really want some of that product. And, telling them, well, you need to sign up for the enrollment, is going to be a waste of time for some people, and then they're going to be put off heavily by things like that. So, yeah, I mean, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You ever hear that saying? It's like whatever the U.S. Mint does, they can't please everyone, obviously, 100% of the people. They will always continually have their detractors, even when they try and make something right. On the graders side, that's a completely different animal there, and that's something that is fixable. That's something that is that needs to be addressed before it gets too hot and heavy. Because guess what? There are companies like Annex waiting in the wings, and they will grade more coins. They will take on more customers if things begin to fall by the wayside for PCGS and NGC. People love them to death, and that's fine. I like them. See, look, I got an NGC coin sitting in front of me, but the service isn't consistent over a long period of time. There's going to become a time where, it's going to all fall off. New management changes, a new CEO takes over, things like that. Sometimes it's not all for the better. All right, that's it, guys. Stay tuned. We got a pretty busy day tomorrow with the Pocket Change Market Report, the midweek edition, in addition to another video where we're taking a look at the coin collection. All right, and go from there. So you guys have a wonderful night. Get some rest because tomorrow's going to be busy. All right. I'll see you guys later. Take care.